Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome to Casual Watch Talk. As you can see, I am not Sam. I'm your substitute Sam today. Sam was pulled away at the last minute for work, and so we're going to have our conversation just the same on Sunday. So hopefully you're going to be pretty chatty there in the chat because we have a topic that I think a lot of people have thoughts on. Joining me today, I've got Mark from On Liberty Night. What is it? I can't read your from Instagram. And then we've got John from Tea and Tickers.
Good evening.
Good evening. I must say, Sam, your mustache is looking particularly fine today. You do that in a week.
A little balder and a hairier lip this week.
As in fact, you've done well, because I spoke to him on StreamYard earlier today, Sam. He didn't have that tash. You've done very well. And shave your head as well. You've done maximum.
It's Velcro. Just slap it on. So as usual, we're going to go ahead and do a wristwatch check. So John, what are you wearing?
I am wearing my vintage Seiko 7002 7001A from 1992.
Nice.
Got it a couple of years ago for 150 quid of eBay. It's a wonderful watch. Excellent.
Is that an aftermarket strap on that?
Oh yeah, they supplied it with that. It's a bit of a jangly kind of aftermarket strap, but it's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, sometimes those are fun. The Jubilee is great.
Yeah, it's nice. Yes, it's just it's a nice everyday watch. Really, could get away with just that. Really, if you weren't into watches.
For sure. Mark, what you got on?
So I've got my Citizen Pro Diver Caribbean Special Edition to celebrate the snow we had on Tuesday. I mean, I did it manually. I didn't get the snowblower out because it wasn't worth it. My back might disagree with me, but there you go.
Did you guys get blasted where you are?
We got about 4 inches. So that's not too bad.
Okay. Not as bad as what's going on out west.
Well, yeah, I mean, at least New Jersey has snow plows. I mean, that's what woke me up at 4:30 in the morning is the snow plows coming through.
Fair enough. And today, in honor of the beginning of the Formula One season, I'm wearing my tag Formula One chronograph.
And we have to say congratulations to Williams for getting a point.
Right. You know what? Like I said, I'll be watching Williams because I'm looking forward to seeing how Logan does.
It's the only thing, if it had just been Max Verstappen being 35 seconds ahead, I'd have got really bored. I stayed watching the race for Fernando Alonso and Alex to get a point. It's the only reason I watched the end of the race.
Oh, for
I
sure.
haven't watched Formula One for years. I used to watch Formula One avidly when Mansell was racing. That's how old I am.
Red
I
5.
used to go watch. Yeah, I watched Red 5. I followed it. I went to Europe watching it and Silverstone and watched him.
Yep, watched it in
win the job.
Silverstone.
Having on the P taken out of me from work numerous times when Mansell crashed, especially the one where the tyre blew out in Australia when he was just about to get the championship.
Or the one where he turned the car off a lap early and couldn't finish the race.
I had all that. They were waiting for me on a Monday morning at work with that. You know what I mean? I just said, "He will do it. He will do it." And my God, he did it.
He did.
Brilliantly.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a brilliant race. Absolutely. Yeah,
they had some classic races. Sorry, this is about to turn into the Williams Formula One reminiscence.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
It's okay.
We've got to stop that.
It's always exciting when the season kicks back off.
Yep.
I'll let Todd get back on track with it. Sorry.
You're fine.
Todd,
so,
what's your wristwatch check? Or did you miss that?
I did it. That's how we got it started. I'm wearing my Formula One.
It's all your fault. Sorry. Yeah.
It is my fault.
I'm getting old.
I sent us down the path. So today's topic is going to be one that's going to be fun and I hope maybe even a little fiery. And we're looking for a lot of input from you guys in the comment section because often we talk about aspiration.
Do you want me to? Often we talk about aspirational watches because Todd just froze.
The fact is,
yeah. Oh, he's back with us.
Oh, am I back?
Yep.
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. So, but this hobby can still be enjoyed even at a very low or an entry level price point. And there are some watches that have become just classics that are even if you're the biggest watch snob and all you have is Rolexes in your collection, they still appreciate some of the watches that we're going to be talking about today, hopefully. So, with the first pick, John, what is an entry-level watch that watch snobs love?
Oh, I would say the Seiko SKX 007. I would think it's an absolute classic watch.
Um,
Really good mid entry level diver. It's actually it's a classic watch now. People struggling to pick them up at a good price, now because they're getting quite rare. But I just think it's to have a good old Seiko diver in your collection. It's even something like that, but that's not as rare as the SKX 007. I think it's just a fantastic watch to have. I think most what we call watch snobs will have a decent Seiko in their collection. I think that's a future classic.
Yeah, I used to have one of the sort of orange dial from a JDM one with the orange dial with the black and gold bezel.
Yeah.
But the timekeeping just drove me nuts, so I got rid of it. It was, when you sit there and go, oh, it's, I've worn it for a week and it's 2 minutes fast. It's just like, no, that thing's got to go.
Yeah, it's your only watch. You're stuffed, aren't you? So the thing is, with having so many watches, you don't really care about the tolerances of plus minus 20 to 40 seconds a day because you'd only wear it for a day or so, and then you swap it and get another one.
Yeah, right. But if it was my only watch for a while, and that timekeeping just drove me insane. It was a lovely thing.
You're in trouble for meetings, aren't you? Important meetings. If you don't double check it, you're suddenly 5 minutes late or something at the end of the week, and you're stuffed, really, aren't you?
Yep, it had to go. It lasted a good long time, but in the end, it drove me nuts.
Well, and the unfortunate part is you probably couldn't swap out that module anymore. The actual movement, you'd have to make a complete upgrade. That movement's gone, right? Yeah. And I think that to be said is that Seiko may come up a number of times in this conversation because honestly, they are one of the greatest watchmakers in the world and have a storied history and make a ton of great watches that people can jump into this hobby with. That one of them I was going to talk about today, and I'll come back to it, but I have a couple of Seikos that I want to discuss. So we'll come back to that. So Mark, what's your first choice for a classic?
How about a modern classic that, it's taken everybody by storm? That would be anything by Studio Underdog.
Yeah.
With, the use of color, the movement from it's an old Swiss movement. It's now made in China, that chronograph movement. But they're a brand that can do no wrong. And if you go into the highest, any watch club, whether you might see the highest caliber watches, if you've got a Studio Underdog, you're a star.
Yeah, I've had Richard on our channel. We interviewed him, and he's brilliant. I mean, he's a fun bloke, and when you look at his website, he's got three. It mentions that he's just a one-man band. He says,
I don't think he is anymore.
He's got he says like Richard director, Ricky the tester. Then he's all three, and it shows it being him. I mean, he there's not a lot of other people in there. In most of it, all the shows, it's only him who's there at all the shows. I'm sure.
When they were at Watch Time, Wind Up New York, there were two on the stand.
Were there now? Right.
So there's at least two, and
okay.
To do all that, to do the marketing, to do the sales.
Well, there you go. That's what he says. Founder, head of design, and marketing manager is what. So Richard, Rich, and Ricky. That's what I was gonna. Maybe he has, but I know there's a guy who does the testing, and what he's good about, even though it's an old movement, that every single one of them is tested before it goes out the factory when they get it back. Every movement is tested for accuracy, which is pretty good.
I mean,
out the door.
I think if you're getting that movement, it's a value movement. You know where it comes from. If you care about your customers, you're going to test it because you don't. As a very small company, you can't afford the returns. I mean, they are lovely watches, no doubt about it.
Yeah, they sell out absolutely in minutes. When he puts one, when he gets a run of about 500 each coming in, and they say like they're going live, and within an hour, something like that, they're all gone.
Yeah,
they're just gone instantly. I've had one on long. I had one on long-term test for 3 months. It was a great watch. It was an absolutely great one. He's got a great ethos and everything. It's it's pretty good. It's great to have a British company that's doing well like that. It's really good.
They came from nowhere. I think he must have thought it was a novelty, and then it's become a livelihood. So good for him. They are great.
Yeah, excellent.
It was something that was born out of COVID, right? Like he just started this during COVID.
I think he did. I think he did actually. Yeah, from what I remember. Yeah, like my
So
channel.
what do you? I plan on interviewing him too sometime very near future. I've talked to him a couple times via email, but I'm curious. What do you suppose what it was that made it such a huge hit? Like, there's a ton of people, making watches during COVID, and there were a lot of startups. What made that one just pop?
It was cheerful. It was bright. It was colorful. It was inexpensive. It was different.
Yeah,
and that always helps.
Yeah, the names of the watches and the colours, the names and the colours for a start. There's nothing that is, when you look at those pictures, they are undescribably nothing else looks like it, does it? At all. Nothing looks like that at all. That's very, and all the other ones as well. Yeah, look at that watermelon one. Look at that colour. That's amazing, isn't it? That's a fun summer watch, that, isn't it?
Yep.
Well, what was funny too, I heard Adrian talking about it, and he said, how did nobody do this before, where the logo and the branding is out of the way of the chronograph counter instead of being split like every other chronograph watch?
Yeah.
He took the time to actually think about it from how it's going to be viewed on a daily basis. So,
well, he was a very successful product designer. Before that, he was the account manager for, I think, was it Braun watches? So he has a history in watch design and marketing, because that was, he'd done that for 5 years before he did this. So, and it shows they are so professional for a startup.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a great choice. My reservation to this date has only been that movement. I hear so many horror stories that it's basically a disposable movement, that it costs more to service it than it would be just to change it.
Okay, but if he tests it, he does actually say, that's one good thing about it. I said he tests every single one before he goes out the door.
Yeah, that is good to know.
It's good to know. I'll
have to check that out. So my first choice, actually, I'm going to bring it up here because I have two. Two Seikos, but I think the one that that really got my attention was one that actually Jenny L sold me on, and it is the Seiko, the simple Seiko tank watch. That watch, she picked that one because she wanted it as a placeholder for a Cartier. She wanted to decide if she wanted to have a Cartier watch. And then she got this and she said, you know what? I don't even need the Cartier now. I thought that is a heck of a statement, that for $150, you're getting a lot of the look and feel. And I have one, and I tell you, it is incredible to wear with a suit. And it is.
It's amazing where you search Seiko tank watch and it comes up with that. Even though it's obviously not got that in the name of it, they haven't called it a tank. Because you put that in Google, something finds it and brings it up. That's amazing. I've not seen this watch. I didn't know about this.
Oh, really?
No, really, seriously, no, I didn't know about that.
It's a beautiful watch. Wow. And it there's a solar version and a non-solar version. I purchased the non-solar version because I like the solar has like grooves on the dial to, I guess, for the solar capacitor, the solar catching unit, whereas the regular quartz one is just a nice clean white dial with the Roman numerals.
I like that, and Palm from our channel has got himself a tank a few weeks ago. I'm like, let's roll one of these up sometimes. There you go.
Oh, you'll have to try it. I'll tell you what, I wear it with a suit and you forget you even have it on. It is wafer thin. I would guess this thing's around 6 millimeters or so. I should have pulled it out of the box before we started.
I didn't know that existed. That is really nice.
It's a beautiful watch. So yeah, I'm a big fan of it. And again, like I said, when Jenny L, who has Rolexes and all, she's like, I don't even need a Cartier tank now. I love this watch, and she wears it frequently on her channel. So
What is the official, for anybody who wants to know, what is the actual official model number of that, please?
Hold on, I'll bring up the exact one I have.
Yeah, thank you. Just I
$125.
don't want anybody rocking into a Seiko thing and say, "Oh, can I have your tank watch, please?" I mean,
Yeah, right.
Although,
Hold on,
if you've got a good salesman, they'll know.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
This is weird how it's listed on the website. Here, I'll see if this. Let's see. Nope, not that one. Let's remove that.
Just click on one of the Amazon ads.
I'll say clicking on one of those adverts at the top, and it'll bring any. It doesn't matter which jewelers it is. If you click on one of them pictures at the top,
there you go.
Any of them, it'll just bring it up.
So look at this. It's $125 right now.
Wow.
About £100.
Yeah, this is all wrong here. There's no date display on it.
No.
So this is clearly some kind of a Chinese retailer.
Yeah,
they've got the information wrong, but it is just
that's pretty impressive. That I do like that. Crikey. Yeah, I do like that.
Just a classic that and actually the Seiko tanks have been around since the 80s. There's a gentleman I follow on Instagram. I'm also going to interview. Old Timer Watch, and he gets the retro vintage ones in all the time. So if you like this, you should look at even his older ones, or he gets just very clean ones from estate sales and stuff for about the same price. And there's some with integrated bracelets. There's some that look like a Santos. Unbelievable how many varieties they have of this watch. So big fan.
Great choice.
We're back to you, John. Your second choice.
Oh, second choice. I'm going to go for the classic square G-Shock DW. What's it, 5600? Is it? Let's just have a look. I don't know. There's so many G-Shocks about, but the old classic square one. Everyone will have one of those because it's just the classic where you want to go out with a watch, but you don't want to get mugged for anything. Yeah, DW 5600, the classic
and they have
square 4-button watch. I think everybody who has a G-Shock should have one of these G-Shocks.
Isn't there also an F91W that's similar?
That one, that's a little less robust. It's thinner.
Okay,
but yeah. That one's 80s glorious. The F91W. That's the isn't that the Nico? That's his God tier one that he gives away.
Yes,
because they're like $10.
Yeah, I was thinking about the DW 5600. It's a bit strong. I think it's a bit strong and a bit more robust. But there's plenty of people I know who have, expensive watches, Rolexes, and when they want to do some jobs or some mechanical jobs on the car, they'll just get the G-Shock out and put that on. How many times he might knock it in the engine bay while they're busy doing stuff or whatever? He just survives.
Yeah,
absolutely. They are tanks, aren't they?
In the lab building I used to work in, if you sort of looked at all the building operators who were fixing the plumbing, fixing the wiring, fixing the huge boilers we had because of all the steam we needed, they all wore DW 5600s, F91Ws. It wasn't a watch, it was a tool, because if you needed to time something, you timed something. If you needed an alarm, you had the alarm, and it was, to a man, they wore that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just brilliant. I mean, I was into I never got G-Shocks for years, and now I've got about 6 or 7 of them. They're brilliant. Yeah, they're great, just great watches.
They're easy to collect too, because they're, it's kind of like Swatch. They have so many colors, they have so many different styles, and they have special editions. You could load yourself up on G-Shocks.
Yeah, you can. There are probably people who do. There are probably people who do actually just collect nothing but G-Shocks, and they've got enough models out there to satisfy themselves, isn't there?
And it's a range that goes from $10 into the thousands.
Yes.
At any price point, you've got a great watch that everybody will acknowledge.
Yeah,
it's a great choice, John.
It is, and so the military do actually issue G-Shocks. The clearance divers, the Navy clearance divers are issued G-Shocks. So the military use them. They got to be strong, haven't they?
Well, and I remember hearing recently that there's been more and more G-Shocks lately ending up in space as well. Great watch for all the space travel that's happening right now.
Wow.
And so long as you're not doing EVA, extravehicular activity, because that LCD can't cope with 4 Kelvin, can't cope with the cold.
That's interesting.
That's a good point. Yeah,
that's why they say, you know, there's a temperature range, because the LCD is only stable and capable of changing between a fairly narrow temperature range. If it gets too cold, it'll freeze. If it gets too hot, it'll essentially run. So you have to keep them in a fairly narrow temperature range.
So that's a purely intra-vehicle watch then at that point. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what they could get around with, they could make one which doesn't have an LCD movement, just the hands, couldn't they? You know, you've got the ones with the hands. They always have an LCD one. If they got rid of the LCD and just made the hands, that would work.
Oh, kind of like the Casio, except there's still a little LCD screen.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's so small I can't read it, so it might as well not be there.
I know. I wish it wasn't even on there. I could go with that watch just being an analog only watch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Sam D had a good comment, particularly the Unimatic. So Sam is picking up Unimatic and Furlan Marry. Furlan Marry is, you know, fairly modern interpretation of that, but Unimatic with their unique design is again a watch that sort of a hidden gem. They have their fanatic followers, but you know, the Furlan Marry really as a homage, and I'm not sure if I'm using that in the true homage or the pejorative sense, of a Patek Philippe, but both very accessible modern brands that particularly the Unimatic, I think that people love.
And it's those brands too that, like, when one watch nerd runs into another watch nerd, there's an immediate, oh, you have something special on. You know, you're a watch guy. You can tell right away. I just happened to I was getting glasses at Costco, and the guy that was helping me was wearing the Seagull 1963, and I went, hey, that's not a watch I see every day.
No,
we immediately started talking. So yeah, these would be great examples of that too. If you know,
just
you
to
know.
say, we've got 25 people watching. We've got like 12 upvotes. So if anybody out that 25 has not voted, please help us all out and vote. Thank you very much.
Good call, John.
Mark, your next selection.
I'm going to pick Baltic, and particularly their.
Go ahead.
Hey, I was the first one to put Baltic in the list.
It's okay.
Particularly their watch with the micro rotor, and is it the Baltic 01? It's got the squarish case with the squiffy numbers on it.
Let's see.
I think so, but it's the micro rotor Baltic, and that was taking people by storm. You know it's a popular watch when you go into the Vacheron Constantin boutique in New York City, and one of the people we were with had his Baltic on his wrist, and the guy goes, "Damn, I'm waiting for mine to come through." Whilst he's trying to sell me $20,000 worth of patrimony.
Yeah, right.
Unsuccessfully.
Are you referring to this one here? MR01?
Yeah, that's the one. MR01.
Oh,
that's the one.
This is a classic, and it's a gorgeous watch. I mean, I don't care which version you pick. I love those sort of Breguet style numbers and the small seconds. Everything about this. But these ones are hard to grab too, aren't they? These are the ones that, just like you were talking about, like you just said, they're not always in stock because they're so popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
There's a waiting list for them, typically.
Wow, look at the texture on that dial. Wow.
Oh, they are lovely.
Just a gorgeous watch.
All that detailing is unbelievable.
Look at that.
Isn't it? Wow.
The movement is beautiful. And that's all for 545 euros.
Wow.
Just a beautiful watch. Yeah, that's an excellent choice, and it's one of those ones that's going to be. I think that's a classic for a long time. The other ones they make, though, since we're on it, and I'll just jump on with you. This Aquascape collection.
Oh, the
I mean, if you're
Aquascape, I think, isn't it? Yeah.
Aquascape.
If
Yeah.
you are a 50 Fathoms fan, they've got you covered with this. This has got all of that classic old diver look.
Yeah.
Beads
I
or
mean,
bracelet.
Last year and the year before was the sort of revival of the Blancpain line, because the sapphire bezel suddenly became available to the mass market. So people jumped on the sapphire bezel. Baltic did it. Christopher Ward did it. There's a couple of other people that took that feature and ran with it. And the logical watch to put it on is a Blancpain clone.
Yeah.
No, it's a great looking watch. Yeah, this is a solid choice. Okay, I'm going to pick up now. Right, my other choice, and this was the one that created some conversation because of Hodinkee.
Oh dear.
They, as we talk about watch snobs, I don't know that it gets any bigger than that. And they recently gave blessing to Zelos. This brand is just on fire, and it's still a one-man band.
Yeah, I've had one and got rid of it. It didn't. I had a Zelos or Zelos, whatever. I did have one. Which I can't remember which model it was now. Wasn't the swordfish? I don't know. I liked. It was okay. I bought it, and I just got bored of it. I don't know why. I have had one, but yeah, you're right. The one-man band.
I had one, and I sold it trying to get to something else, and I kind of regret it now. I still want one of these back in my collection. I'm leaning toward this salmon dial and titanium for $429. I mean, that's really hard to beat. The tricky part is, just like you said, on the Baltics. I mean, he sells, when he puts a new one out, they're sold instantly. He just came out with a brand new GMT using that new NH34 movement, and it was a stunner, and it was sold out in like the first day he put it up. It was a matter of like, you better get on it right now. It's called the black tip. The colors of this are just gorgeous. And they're all sold out.
Wow.
Now, I will say too, though, for collectors, what's really nice about these, it's dangerous when you start playing around and you start collecting your watches and you're getting into micro brands. It can get difficult to move a watch when you're like, I want to move on to something else because I spent $300 or $400 on it, and now no one wants to give me more than $100, in the forums or on eBay. These Zelos, because they sell out so fast, they hold their value very well. You generally will get about what you paid for it in your collection. It's a very hotly collected watch.
I would imagine anything from Helios has the same thing.
Oh yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, the both of them. Helios has some beautiful designs as well, and I love the color palette that they use. This one is just a stunner. What is that dial made out of?
Mother of pearl, by the look of it.
It looks like it, yeah. I think they would advertise it, but just beautiful, and having that matching bezel with the 24-hour timing in it. Just a beautiful watch. So big fan of what Zelos. I'm a big fan of what they're doing, and also their packaging so nice. So yeah, it's probably just a matter of aesthetic or taste for you, John. Maybe it was just like, I wasn't in love.
Yeah, I can't really describe what it was it didn't do for me, but no, I don't know. Weird.
Let's see. It was Von Cruel. It was tempted by the black tip. Mostly just enjoying what I have for this year. Oh well, aren't you a strong person? You're not gonna buy anything for a whole year. Very impressive, sir.
I said that until Christopher Ward changed the timing of their nearly new sale in January, because they used to have it so that it would be 8 o'clock in the morning for the UK, which is 3 a.m. for the US. So everything was gone by the time the US woke up. But this year it started at 10 o'clock for the US, and it was just a really bad day. Particularly for my bank account, a really, really bad day.
How many did you buy?
2.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Have you? Which, if you don't mind me asking, what'd you get? Because I am a huge Christopher Ward fan. I think John is too.
Yeah.
I picked up. They happen to be on my desk. I haven't got them around to photographing them yet. So this is the C60 Limpston with the brushed steel bracelet and the forged carbon fiber bezel.
Oh yeah.
Forged carbon fiber dial, no date. And then the other one, which I'd been after for years.
Sam would be nauseous with no date, but I'm with you.
Is the C60 Tide. So this had
limited edition, wasn't it?
Oh
no, that was the blue. This is the one, the sort of the precursor to the Diver 300 with the narrow bezel, and this has a sapphire dial, and then it's got blue paint that's got lume in it. And I'd been umming and ahhing about getting one of these for years, and then it came up in the nearly new. So that was my watch buying for the next 6 or 7 months, done in about an hour.
Wow.
Well, you can hardly, especially since they don't run the vouchers anymore. That nearly new is your best way you're going to get anything.
And the thing is, they release it to the forum a day or two before. So if you're registered for the forum, you get the notification of the nearly new a couple of days before. So that's why there's nothing left after about 2 days, because the forum just takes everything and runs.
Well, and that's another brand too. I mean, what I like is sometimes I like getting them secondhand, because you're with me here in the US and you don't have to worry about those duties, and maybe you can save $100 or so. But they really also still hold their values very well, in the secondary market. If you buy one, you're not going to take a bath on it.
I mean, that was the thing about Christopher Ward. They were the brand that incited indifference. So I went to the Dubai Watch Week Horology Forum in New York last year, because it was, it's an hour by train. And if you wore a Christopher Ward, you might as well have been invisible. All that changed with the Bel Canto. But before Bel Canto, it was like the brand that everybody loved to ignore. It just inspired indifference, which is a shame. Yeah. But, if you want to go where the watch snobs gather, that was one of them. And it was clear that this was not the watch to wear. and that was the concept, which was the skeleton. So,
Oh yeah, that one was insane.
Yep.
That one sold out fairly fast too, did it not?
I think they made 210 of those. So yeah, that was gone in a day or so. Yeah.
Bel Canto was 6 hours. I got invited to the launch party on the Wednesday, but they went live. Bel Canto went live on the Tuesday at 10 o'clock in the morning, and by 6 in the evening, they'd all sold out.
I mean,
the party the next day, and there wasn't anything really to say. We've got so many left; they're all gone.
I had my order in for the Bel Canto 2 or 3 months before it was launched, and before anybody had seen it.
Wow.
Because they kept hinting in their in-house magazine, Loop, we've got something special coming, and I've learned to trust that. So I had my order in 2 or 3 months early.
How did you get your order? How was it possible to get your order in when they haven't got anything to click on? What did you do? What was the
I phoned them up and said, "You've got something coming. I'd like to put my name on it."
Put my name on it, right?
Yeah. Or the other thing is, you can email Mike France.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, we know Mike. I've had him on our channel. He hinted there was something special on when he came on with us as well, like he did with Sam.
It's either that or contact their showroom manager, Declan Strange.
Right, yeah.
So there's ways in. Ask to speak to the customer service manager. I hear you've got something coming. I'd like to put my name down. Talk to Declan, or even try emailing Mike France. You will get a response. You will get on a list.
I know you will. Yeah, I mean, we get normally our channel now normally gets embargo stuff, so we get to hear about it usually before now with pictures and everything, like Sam does. So
yeah, I mean, I get the press releases because I write stuff for Scottish Watches, so I'm part of that embargo group.
Nice.
So, but Bel Canto, C60 Concept, stuff like that. Just put your name on the list 3 or 4 months in advance before you've even seen it.
Yes.
Because if you don't like it, they're not taking any money.
No.
So, but you're on the list.
And even if you get it, you don't like it, as long as you don't wreck anything, you've got 60 days. Exactly.
Yep. Well, Von Krul chimed in, and it turns out he's human after all. He's just spending his money on other watch.
Yep.
Not, he's just buying parts of watches instead. We got a suggestion here from Sam, and this is a beautiful watch. I have not seen this. The Fairer Moon Phase.
Yep, just released or just announced.
That is a cool watch.
With the grand loom. Yep.
It's a fun moon phase. Oh
yeah.
Man. I really like these salmon dial. What's it, pink? Yeah. I love this dial color. They do a lot in this dial color, don't they?
They do.
And a salmon matched date wheel. That is awesome. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, Sam.
That's probably not very good for actual legibility of the date wheel.
Sure.
Salmon and black aren't known for being high contrast combinations, but it's a cool touch. I'll give you that.
It's for those of us who could care less if there's a date wheel on it.
Well,
the blue is nice too. Like really cool. So they all have different indices too. That's interesting.
So our Sam would be happy because it's got a date wheel. I don't care. I don't know if he has to be able to read the date wheel or it's just got to have a date.
I don't know, but I do rip him about that. It has to have a date wheel. Yeah.
He does love a date wheel. John,
it's an absolute must. He must have a date wheel. He won't buy it. It's not just,
Yeah, he's gotten rid of watches because it didn't have date on it. Von Krul says, if you can't read it, you'll feel better about not having the correct date on it. Yeah, exactly.
I wonder if you could just market Cyclops to Sam so he can read all these dates.
Yeah.
Okay. So, sorry, John, go ahead.
John, your third choice for watch?
Well, it would be the Hamilton Khaki Field, the mechanical, the hand-wind one. I reckon, it just throws back to the old 2 watches, the old Army 2 watches. It's just a brilliant watch. And then again,
mechanical.
I just think that the mechanical one, definitely.
Yeah.
I reckon, and it's a great 3-hander tool watch, which can just do anything, do anything with. Put any strap monster, take leather straps, it'll take NATO straps. And I just think that anybody should have one of them everybody should have one of them in the collection. Yeah. I think I know quite a few people again with expensive watches, with Rolexes and that and Amigas who have one of those in the collection.
Yeah. So along with your Hamilton suggestion, we have one from the stream that was talking about that new Hamilton Khaki Navy Scuba, and I didn't realize they made one now that's 300 meters water resistance, because that was kind of the joke about their line before, is it was not even 100. Was it 100 meters water resistance on their diver watch? The original line.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, these are quite nice.
It's quite. Sorry, I'm just looking at it, and it looks a bit like a generic diver, though, doesn't it?
It does.
There's nothing new. I mean, the ones on the top row. Okay, I think the ones on the top row. Have they got a cover over the? Yeah. So they've got a bit of a Panerai thing going on over the crown, haven't they?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's their locking system for it. This
Yeah.
color looks like it could be interesting. Well, that's serious. I just don't know if I want that thing on my wrist, that giant, huge mechanism.
no, with that, no. I mean, we don't have to have the word lock written on it particularly. We don't. We know what it's called.
Yeah,
We know what it's
excessive,
called.
possibly excessive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, while we're on Hamilton, did you guys see this new release? Right here.
Isn't
Look
the
at
Hamilton
that thing.
Murph? Isn't the Hamilton Murph really popular too?
It is, especially the new 38 millimeter one.
I quite like that actually. This one.
This one is the brand new release, and they've taken the jazz. I have a Jazzmaster chronograph, but it looks very, very dressy. This is
Thule.
very
Is that
yeah.
word?
It's
Thule. Is that word?
Here we go. Yeah, it's Thule. It has got a lot. I mean, it's clearly got some serious Rolex Daytona vibes going.
He's got some proper depth. They haven't made it the classic Rolex Daytona colours, have they? They haven't got a two-tone one. They haven't given it a white dye. That looks, even the colours of it. Let's have a look. Are those all the? No, okay.
Well, these are.
model, isn't it?
This is just the 3-hand version.
Right. The other one that you showed. Have you got any other colours on the one that you just showed?
They have a black. I'm trying to find. This site is not loading very well. No, you're fine. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
That's really nice. I quite like that.
It's a gorgeous watch. It comes in at $2,100. Let's click shop the collection. Maybe we can get to something that's going to do something for us. And the unfortunate thing is, here we go. For Hamilton, is these do not hold their value very well.
No, you don't. I reckon if someone buys it and falls out with it, falls out of love with it, and sticks it on eBay, you'll get a good old chunk off it, won't you?
Oh yeah, I mean, the one I have in my collection was a couple years old. It came out, I think it was $1,700 or $1,800. There you go. There's your Daytona.
Oh, there it is. Oh, that go. Oh,
I bought mine for like $600.
Tasteful.
So.
Not at all. Okay, what's the other color? What's the other color choice we've got? I don't like.
I like this blue. This blue and
and there's one final other one as well, isn't there? Is the one on?
I think it's just black, which is a nice. It's a nice one.
Still, no, the blue one for me. I'm 100% the blue, and I've got enough blue dialed watches. The blue one is the one that would do it for me. I think
the blue one is definitely a looker.
It's very, very nice. I must admit, I do actually like that with the leather strap as well. I don't think I'd even have a bracelet. I don't know if it's more with a bracelet when it comes sleek blue dial.
I think it's $100 more with the bracelet. I think. Here we go.
I'd go with the leather strap, man. I quite like it. I think it looks great on the perforated strap.
Yeah, that rally style strap is very nice. So,
but come on, guys. I know. Is that really? Is that worth 2,100?
No. It's got the Valjoux movement in it, so it's 15 millimeters.
It's a monster.
Thick.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a beast.
You're going into Zin territory, that kind of money, and I don't know, and I think I prefer a Zin for
I just buy it on the secondary market.
You wait till the house drops out of it. 6 months.
That's my game on that one.
Get $1,000 off it. You get it for 1,100, won't you? With the box and everything, papers and everything.
That's a Joe Shop special in waiting, I think.
Oh yes. You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a classic here, the Tissot PRX. I mean,
that's another one you can add to your collection of. Probably watch snobs love it, don't they? They would still have. Yes.
No one has said a bad thing yet about the build quality. I haven't felt one yet, but I've been waiting for the 35 millimeter.
It was the Q Time that was the wrist shaver, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Before the PRX.
Yeah.
Because everyone was going, oh, we've got this great Timex, and everyone's wrists were bold as well.
Well, and I'll tell you what, Timex has been knocking it out of the park lately. They continue to just have great designs. I don't know what's going on, but they have a new version of the Marlin with the small seconds on it that is just gorgeous and has sort of a tonneau case. Looks completely different than the original, very Mad Men version of the Marlin. It's beautiful. Let's see if we can bring it up here. And I think it's quite affordable.
And whilst we're waiting, Bill K had a question about the Chrono Techna. The black dial, the black sandwich dial is great. Build quality is fine. Mine's the Kickstarter one. The ones they have on sale now probably developed a little bit since I got mine. But there you go. Lovely watch. Very well made.
This here is a great looking watch for $269. Doesn't need to have. We can get rid of that.
Yeah, you can't beat that, can you?
Great style.
Wow.
I don't know why they bothered with this. This is a heck of a waste of time to look at the movement from the back like that. That's a odd choice.
Yeah, I've got this thing about, it's like having power reserves on the back. I think what's the point? It's like having a fuel gauge for your car in the glove compartment. What's the point of it?
I've got a car with a CD player in the glove compartment. It's fairly pointless.
Yeah.
Thank you, Volkswagen.
I was going to say, I know someone's bought a second-hand Seat with the same thing. So, yeah, I thought it might be. Wow.
So, I like this one. Purchased the PRX in green for my father, who was 88 years old, and I think he loved it.
Good old Chile. Well done, mate. Excellent.
Yeah, well done.
So you're getting your dad into watches at 88. Excellent.
Exactly.
Excellent. You're never too old to get into watches. That's what I say. Absolutely.
And the PRX, the quartz is the only one I'd even look at. But I've been waiting for them to come up with some of the. I like that mint green, but in the 35 millimeter. That the 40 it is with the integrated bracelet just always looks awkward on people's wrists. It looks just too big. Hangs off the sides.
Why would you only go for the quartz? Why wouldn't you go for the mechanical?
For me personally, this is a watch that would be an occasional wear. It wouldn't be a daily wear, and it would be sort of a grab and go for a night out, as opposed to an everyday watch.
All you got to do is pull the crown out and set the time, and against one of your other million watches.
I know that's true. I've who Pete got to me.
Yeah.
I mean, quartz is quartz. There's a reason quartz was so popular. It's a very reliable, no service requirement, and it's a $10.
I've got no soul, haven't we? Really? Come on, we are watch enthusiasts, aren't we?
I mean, I hear you, but I have a lot of mechanicals in my collection, but it's nice to have a quartz piece here and there.
Yeah,
I was going to say my high school, university years, because I'm the same age as you, John. That was all Casio quartz, Casio digital or Citizen digital. Nothing wrong with it. Okay, so yes, I've got mechanical watches now, but I still miss a couple of my Casio digitals from the early 80s.
Same, yeah. I'm waiting for to come out with a mechanical handline G-Shock. I think they will, but
Well, that was. I remember when I had.
Isn't that a Grand Seiko? That's a Grand Seiko. That is.
Yeah.
When I had bought some of my first watches when I was about 18 or 19, I remember that was the first thing people were like, "Ooh, it's quartz!" Like they were wowed by the fact that it had a quartz movement in it, as opposed to mechanical.
And they even had that one with the. It was an LCD, but the hands were. It had analog hands, and then a digital display underneath it. So it was all digital, but it had hands that literally ticked because it was just driven by the chip. Wonderful stuff. Oh, so nostalgic.
We're getting another call for a quartz here. I'm going to look it up while you guys talk amongst yourselves here. I'll put up this comment. I have not seen this. Yep. Yeah. C5 tactical. Let's see this.
Tactical. Oh, that screams wannabe military.
I was going to say if it's got that much loom on it, no squad is using it in the dark. Because every sniper in the world's going to take you out.
Yeah.
They might only hit you on the hand though.
Except you say that, but the CWC SBS, which is current issue to the Special Boat Service, has one of the most maddest looms going.
Well, as long as they wear it underwater, I guess it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, but they do sell also a watch cover, something that goes over the top. You can buy something. But yeah. Okay. So that says to me, wannabe. It's got C3 Super Luminova, strongest loom performance yet. Okay. But it's not issued. Put the word tactical in just to make them sort of get the suckers, don't they? They'll buy, it's a new tactical watch, you know what I
mean? We got talking there for a minute. I totally forgot. We were still going around the room. Mark, your third choice.
Okay. Well, I'll just say almost anything by the Boldr, Boldr supply company.
Yeah.
Although the one they just came out with, the Vogelkop Superb, probably not going to be that, not part of that sort of hype group. That's a watch where you stick, because it's got the Musso black paint, so the 99.4% absorptive paint. It's got a super black dial. It's as black effectively as the Moser with Vanta Black, but the design is like I stared at the void and the void stared back, because the bezel is the bezel is absolutely plain except 2 dots.
Wow.
So I think it's released tomorrow.
No, it was on the top here. Hold on. I hadn't seen that one. That's sort of like that Vanta Black kind of a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the second watch. That's the one. I stared at the void and the void stared back. That's kind of creepy. It's a the one before wasn't scary, but that one's kind of scary.
One of my watches that I bought early on when it was quartz was the Movado museum watch. I worked at a department store, and of course that one was available. It's really I can't quickly check the time on something like this.
But that special edition aside, Boldr makes some great watches. Just not that one. Yeah.
This new
like
GMT
is
theirs looks very good looking watch. I've seen this all over my Instagram feed lately. This is a solid looking watch, and it has its own DNA. It doesn't look like a Rolex. It definitely.
So Boldr Supply Company, a watch that won't embarrass you in any company. But the Vogelkop is not one of them.
No, that one's intense.
Yeah.
All right, so for my final one, it's kind of jumping back on John's, but this is because the SKX had so much love, but it has a lot of weaknesses. I have fallen in love with, and always have been kind of in love now with, the Turtle. And I love the Turtle in every iteration. And you can get a Turtle for about $300, 200 meters of water resistance, hacking movement. Yeah. It's just hard to go wrong. And even though it's big, there was a guy at work who was like, he has very slender wrists. And he's like, I could never wear one. So I took it to work intentionally one day. I said, here, just put it on. He's like, I quite like that.
It's like, it fits like a much smaller watch because of the shape of it, because of the side of the case, the shape of the case fits a lot smaller.
So comfortable too, the way the case is designed. This is a great zombie apocalypse watch, really. The battery's not going to go. The movement will last a long time. It's just a solid watch.
Yes, exactly.
Let's see what we got here. Okay, this is a good question, and I have feelings about this. How do you guys feel about Boldr compared to Jack Mason?
Well, I've heard of Boldr. So I have feelings for one.
I've never heard of Jack Mason. I might have met him in the pub and had a drink with him one day, but I don't think he makes watches.
That's funny. The Jack Mason, they have a heavy marketing in Facebook. I feel like I get an ad from them every third scroll. I'm looking at a Jack Mason watch.
No, is it? I've never. Sound like an airline watch to me. Something you get on. On an airline, but
that makes me so glad I'm not on Facebook. Just another reason not to be on Facebook.
Really? I can't.
This is their new. There's their new GMT, and that's what I think he's referring to compared to the Boldr.
Boldr.
I think the Boldr beats it.
that's a Seiko, isn't it? Really, looks like it's got a Seiko type Jubilee bracelet, like here, like I've got on this
It's
one.
probably got the Seiko movement in it. Let's see what it
Probably, I
says
bet
about
it's an
what move.
NH35. Are we going for an NH35, guys? What we're going
For $999,
Oh, a
definitely buy the
GMT.
Boldr.
It's not going to be an NH35 with the GMT, is it? It's going to be
The
whatever.
NH34, I think.
Is it? Can we sign
Yeah,
up what
if they're
movements
let
in
me
it,
see
please?
here.
Yeah, just
That's about $500 more than it should be.
Yeah, agreed. If it's that price, if it's that movement, it is.
oh,
It should be a Swiss movement.
Strato timer. What's that? Strato.
I mean,
Strato timer. It doesn't
Strato
even say.
Sorry.
Here we go. Here we go. Miota
Clearly-
9075.
oh,
okay.
that's the proper one, but it's still $500 more than it should be. That's the Traveler GMT rather than the Office GMT.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is the one that moves. Yeah, I mean, for that price, though,
True
Citizen
GMT.
makes a beautiful GMT. I think using that same movement that I would pick over that any day.
But
Yeah.
you know, the guy that came up with Strato timer clearly got fired from Omega after Mega Steel. That's where he went.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
crummy name.
He's
Strato
spotted with
timer.
another one. You know where he's moving around, putting this O in the middle of their.
I mean,
yeah.
what biological function is a strato, and why does it need timing?
Well, it sounds like something from the 60s where they put Omatic behind everything, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Quadramatic from General Motors. Yeah.
So Strato timer sound has that same kind of retro sound. Yeah, I'm not loving it. So that's the Jack Mason. We've introduced you guys to a couple watches you hadn't heard of before.
Wow,
today, so
God, yes.
Oh no, okay, here we go. This one, yes, but good luck getting it. I think the Traska, $700. Traska makes that's the one we should have had. I should have had on the list.
But are these two these Jacks whatever this Traska any better than the Seiko 5 GMT that came out a few months ago?
Well, the design language is just beautiful on them. Like this is something different.
That's definitely classier, isn't it? There's some thought gone into that.
Yeah, it's not generic. It's not the generic shape. It's correct. Yeah,
And I like the fact that they've borrowed the Seamaster helium escape valve at 10 o'clock.
Okay, that's going to bug people though.
What
But I mean, Amiga people get bugged by it.
Wait.
I don't. I mean, you know.
To be honest, if you've got a Seamaster,
Which you have.
I don't even see it.
No, I don't. It's not been a problem. It certainly won't be a reason for me not buying a watch.
It's a reason for people who want to say that Rolex is better to complain about the Seamaster.
Look at this bracelet.
But it doesn't.
That is an articulating bracelet.
That's a nice bracelet.
Wow,
yeah.
Wow. That is nice.
Wow.
4 levels of micro adjust.
Yes.
Now we know where Spidell went.
Yeah. And I think,
that's cool.
This is beautifully finished. And that's actually not a helium escape. I think this is an internal rotating bezel.
Oh, okay.
Get that.
Oh, right. It's got the same movement. It's got that 9075 movement in, I've just noticed.
But
what sort of price do these go for, guys?
700.
Okay.
We're getting closer because their watches, they've been doing it for a while, and they've got some beautiful designs that, you know, they have the classic look. Well, that's the Venturer. The Commuter is a beautiful sort of Yagata watch. This is their Explorer.
And
they're not even pretending. It's the Summiteer. But very cool design. These guys, I've been watching them for a while. I think I signed up to their mailing list because they do this one. Another one of those watches is just really hard to get a hold of once it hits the street. They put it out, it sells out.
You know what brand we haven't said, and it should have been on my list?
What's that?
Brew watches. BREW.
Oh, you're right. That's another one of those brands that kind of feels like Underdog, Studio Underdog. You know?
Yeah. Very same vibe.
Yeah.
That's the one perhaps I should have said instead of Boldr. But yeah, Brew.
Yeah. Brew gets
definitely
a lot.
Get a lot of love.
Yeah. There's plenty out there we've not discovered. Yeah.
Yeah,
Perhaps there's a two-hour show going on here.
Oh, I hope not. I haven't had supper yet.
No.
Stuff I got to do to get ready for work.
One of our choices
tomorrow.
was clearly boring for Andre.
I think he was. I hope he was referring to the
hit the
Trasker,
hour.
but I can't tell.
Oh, there's a few Traskers on eBay, guys. If anyone's interested, in them Traskers, there are a few on eBay, different models.
How's the price point though?
Well,
holding,
okay,
isn't
there's
it?
a
They hold.
Trasker Commuter, 1 year old, 260 English pounds with 18 hours to go.
Oh, that's not bad.
A Commuter Series 1, another one with no date, £478. Buy it now, Australia.
That's
£500
about the right
for a
price.
mint green one. They're all around £500-600
So they're holding their price.
They are holding the price pretty much, aren't they? Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's a suggestion here too. Like we got one more. We'll take a look at the Junghans Meister Driver
Handaufzug.
Handaufzug for $600, pre-owned. Okay.
I'd have one of them just for. It's a Handaufzug. It sounds pretty good. Yeah.
To me, it sounds like handbrake. It's the German for handbrake, but that's probably wrong on a car.
It says in parentheses it's for hand wind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
But
wow.
yeah, $600 is that sort of price point. I feel like for most people, that's something you could save up for. You know, it still might be a stretch for some people to go like, I'm going to spend. For some people, they think you're insane for spending $300 on a watch. But
really,
well, normal people.
I know.
Normal
We
people,
have
John.
got a disease. Yeah, I know. We have got a disease. We are afflicted. I understand straight away. Like we spend, car money, for
Yeah. Yeah. Some people are happy to go in, get their Citizen Eco Drive, and that's the only watch they ever wear the rest of their life. That's a normal.
I wish I was like that.
I know. Yes, I see. But it's good how you can get enjoyment out of a 200 quid Seiko as much as you can from a $3,000 Amiga and that.
For sure.
Yep.
Well, I think that's going to do it for today. I appreciate everybody being so active in the comments and helping us out.
Yep, thank you all.
Yeah, 32 on now. So please, if you haven't voted, we have 22 upvotes. If that remaining 10 have not voted, please upvote and subscribe if you haven't done. Thank you, people.
Now there's a professional. So I think Todd is frozen, but I hope he'll